It's been hailed as Sony's best OLED TV yet, widely praised in reviews, and it's not even been released yet. So let's take a closer look at the Sony Bravia XR A90J and see if it really is all that. Hi guys, it's Jonathan from Smart Home Sounds, an audiovisual retailer based in the UK, and today we're going to be reviewing the Sony A90J, a TV that we've been really excited to get our hands on. There are already some great reviews on the A90J out there which go into great depth on the spec, looking at nit rates, etc. But what we will try and do in this video is take all of the key elements of the spec and features of this TV and put it into more digestible information and real life examples to help you decide if this is the TV for you. So if you do find yourself tempted by the A90J, it is available to pre-order or purchase depending on when you're watching this video on our website with free delivery and Sony's 5-year warranty. The team is also available to chat if you've got any extra questions, or feel free to pop them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe while you're there. Okay, so let's get on with the video. Announced earlier this year, the Sony Bravia XR A90J is Sony's new flagship Master Series OLED TV, replacing the highly successful AG9 2019 model. Sony have named this their best ever OLED, and it boasts some pretty impressive updates, including a new cognitive processor, which we will come onto shortly. As it is a luxury TV, it has got a luxury price tag to suit, with an RRP of $2,699 for the 55-inch version, $3,499 for the 65-inch version, which we have here in the studio, and they even do a brand new 83-inch screen for $6,999. The A90J sits at the very top of Sony's 2021 4K OLED lineup, with the only TVs that are more premium than this being their 8K full array LED TVs. Now, we will be doing a full overview of the 2021 range on our channel, covering all the key differences and pros and cons of the different models. Now, TV model names have a habit of looking more complicated than they are, so let's break it down into more simple terms. So if we look at the Sony Bravia XR65 A90JU, firstly, you can dismiss the U at the end as that's less important. Bravia XR at the start refers to the new processor found in this TV. 65 is the screen size in inches, A is the model class, which is OLED in this example, and 90 is the specific model, and the J signifies that this model is from the 2021 range. Now, the A90J is obviously an OLED TV, and for those who aren't 100% sure, OLED TVs use pixels that can individually switch themselves on and off to create true blacks and extra vivid colours. OLEDs do traditionally have a reputation for being less bright than other types of TVs, which is something that we will discuss later, as the A90J is Sony's brightest ever OLED. And don't worry, we will be comparing this with the likes of the Sony A80J and LG G1 TV in a future video, as we do know that you might be torn between those models. Now, I think we should kick this review off with the design of the A90J by giving credit to Sony for how great this TV looks. It's got pretty much a non-existent 0.7mm metal bezel and a one-slate design which Sony call immersive edge. So it's less bezel and more picture to enhance immersion. With it set up in our studio, it really feels like the emphasis is fully on the picture with no distraction from the TV itself, and in person I can say it really is ultra thin. Now, that slim footprint ensures that this TV will also look great if you decide to mount it on the wall. These stands are also adjustable 3 ways, so you can either keep it in what we like to call stealth mode, so the TV is almost touching the stand, which looks slick, or you can raise the TV a bit higher if you're using a chunky soundbar, for example, or move the horizontal position of the feet if you're keeping the TV on a smaller TV unit. It's really easy to install these stands, and I think if you're not opting for a soundbar and can't wall mount it, then it looks really neat in this position that we have it here. On the rear of the TV, it uses a cable management system so it keeps clutter to a minimum, and even the TV remote looks and feels premium with this brushed aluminium design. It's also backlit, so it's easy to use the controls if you're watching a film with the lights off. Now, we've also noticed that there are some additional buttons here to quickly navigate to the most popular services such as Disney+, Netflix, Prime Video, and YouTube. As an owner of the previous A9 OLED, which looks great, hats off to Sony, as their subtle tweaks make the A90J feel very premium indeed. First things first, you will notice that the packaging is very secure, but it's nice and easy to get the TV out of the box. Now, considering this is a 65-inch TV with a very thin design, which is a bit nerve-wracking to lift up, unboxing was really simple and it's easy enough to get it out and set up with 2 people. Once you've chosen your stand height and got it all up and ready, you've then got the TV setup to go through. Now this uses Google TV, and we were impressed with the process. It was intuitive and not overly complicated. It's also a thorough process enabling you to personalize your TV and add all your accounts and apps so you're up and running with the content that you love. It's the first and only TV currently to use the Google TV interface, and it is clear to see it is a big upgrade on the previous interface, which did have some criticism for not being the most user-friendly UI. The menus are well laid out, it's simple to find content, and it offers the biggest choice of apps, as there's over 5,000 on there, including favourites like Netflix, Disney+, Apple TV, Prime Video, Now TV, and all of the catch-up services. My initial thoughts are that the For You section, which groups all of your favourite apps and programs together for quick access, is really handy. The interface on these TVs is becoming increasingly more important, with most users spending the majority of their time in these menus. Now, we have tested out a lot of different interfaces and are fond of Apple TV. However, we were pleasantly surprised by how easy Google TV is to navigate, and it provides a seamless experience. You also have the option to use voice search, which works really well, and it can do things that you wouldn't expect, like change brightness on the fly, channel up and down, change the input or a setting. So I think these TV-specific commands will be really useful. I'll just add that there is a physical switch on the back of the TV to turn the voice control completely off, which is great for those who prefer to keep the voice control feature deactivated. Also new for the A90J is Bravia Core, which stands for Centre of Real Entertainment. Now, it's a new service to the Sony 2021 lineup, which is Sony's very own streaming service containing recent box office movies on demand that's available to stream up to 4K HDR. Now, a large amount of this content is IMAX enhanced, so it uses an expanded aspect ratio and enhanced sound the way that it was intended. And if you've ever been to an IMAX cinema compared to a normal cinema, this mode makes similar optimizations. You've also got an IMAX picture setting, which adjusts the picture settings to maximize this content. I also like that you've got some exclusive behind-the-scenes content from certain movies, such as backstage footage, interviews, and more, which you wouldn't find anywhere else. Now, Sony has a fantastic catalogue to offer a service like this, and with their in-depth knowledge and involvement in the cameras, film, and TV, you can be sure you'll be getting great content which will look fantastic and is optimized for their screens. Another perk is Sony actually give you 10 credits to spend within 2 years on IMAX enhanced movies in Bravia Core with the purchase of every A90J. Now, with all of the TVs lower down in the range, it's 5 credits. Now, you also get access to over 100 classic Sony titles for 2 years, so definitely worth a look. One of the most significant updates to Sony's 2021 OLED TVs is the new Sony Bravia XR Processor, which uses cognitive intelligence, arguably one of the biggest changes for Sony in the last 10 years. Now, the processor is essentially the brains behind the TV, and it's responsible for a huge range of elements from the picture quality to the refresh rate, and it's key in providing blur-free, sharp, contrasted picture with accurate color and lifelike visuals. Sony claim their new XR processor uses cognitive intelligence, which uses human perspective analysis. So it's supposed to recognize how humans see, hear, and perceive things, and then translate that into the best sound and picture quality possible for a more realistic and natural experience. Now, of course, that is a lot of jargon, which does sound great, but sometimes these features are hard to detect in reality. However, from testing this TV over the last couple of days and comparing it with last year's models with the old processor, there is definitely a level up in performance. The best way that I can summarize it is that it's not a difference that jumps out from the start, but over time, watching different types of content, you notice the overall viewing experience is more natural, and you can see the little details which might have been lost before. It really is all in the details which excel and come together for an overall enhanced picture. So if we now move on to one of the most important elements of a TV, the picture, and this is where the A90J excels. Now, there is a lot going on behind the scenes to output this quality of picture, so I'll try and expand on each of the features. So as we've just covered, one of the main changes in this TV is the Bravia XR processor, and that plays a huge role in the textures and color realism. It assesses the picture in real time and it recreates lost textures and detail for real-world pictures. This has a huge benefit on the TV's performance, especially for action-intense scenes or sports programs, as it ensures there's no blur during motion. The tri-luminous display, which focuses on the reds, greens and blues, is continuing through to the 2021 range, but it's now called Tri-Luminous Display Pro, which reproduces colours as you see them in the real world, and it offers an even wider range of colours that we see day to day. This is partnered with XR smoothing, so the picture is smoothed out to look natural without banding that sometimes appears in other sets. New for the OLED models, the pixel contrast booster that we saw on the AG9, designed to maximize contrast as much as possible, is now OLED Contrast Pro. So in a practical sense, it will make the picture look more 3D, with more depth for each object, but also targets brightness, which is a common issue in OLED models. Speaking of brightness, this has been one of the main areas that Sony has worked on with this lineup of OLED models. And comparing this with the AG9, you can definitely see a visual difference. Now, as I mentioned, there are other reviews which go into depth on the nit rate, etc. And all those tests highlight how this is definitely Sony's best OLED to date. From our testing this week, we can confirm that Sony have made some real progress with brightness on this TV. Of course, brightness is only as good as the contrast, and the pure blacks on this TV are just that, pure black. This clip showing the dark sky with the vibrant fireworks really highlights this, and with the lights off in the room, it's a very impressive display. We've also spent quite a bit of time testing out the different picture settings and adjustments. I think it's important to highlight that while there are lots of picture settings that can be changed, this is not essential to enjoy great picture quality on this TV. And the easy selected preset picture modes offer something for everyone. However, this is the Master Series TV, and custom picture mode is the one that we would recommend for those of you who want to go that step further and adjust the settings to suit your environment and your preferences. If you opt for custom mode and spend a bit of time checking out the vast options and picture settings available, you will find that you can alter the picture to suit the most demanding viewer. Now, I'm not going to go into too much more detail, as I think a lot of this is down to personal preference and seeing what works in your space. But I do think it's good to know that there is the option here. I'll also point out that there is an ambient mode which helps the TV to adjust to your room. Now, I know some might prefer to turn this feature off to give yourself more control over the consistent picture. However, this feature is great if you've got a big window in the room. It will automatically adjust both the brightness and the color of the picture to match the room's environment to ensure your viewing is not disrupted by bright sunlight shining in. Overall, the picture quality is really impressive with this TV. We've tested all types of content from fast-paced action sequences, animations, gaming, sports matches, nature programs, and more, and we feel the A90J excelled in everything that we tested. Now, sound quality is not something that we normally cover greatly in our TV reviews, as we would normally always recommend a soundbar for the most immersive listening experience. However, Sony have made significant improvements to the sound quality, and it's fair to say the A90J sounds spectacular. We will be showing you how it sounds using our binaural microphone, which we will get to in a minute. Now, acoustic surface audio has been carried through from the AG9 model, where the screen is actually the speaker, but the A90J now offers acoustic surface audio plus. So the sound comes from actuators behind the screen which vibrate to create sound that replicates the placement of the sound on the screen for a more realistic listening experience. So if a plane flies from one side to the other, the sound would move with it, and in our testing this works really well. Okay, so let's do a sound demo to show you how the actuators work in dispersing the sound from the right area of the screen. So as always, if you put headphones on, you will get a better experience with this. So hopefully from that test, you'll have got a feel for how the TV sends audio from different areas of the screen to match the visuals for a more immersive experience. This is probably my favorite feature, and it works really well. So all of this sound technology is then partnered up with new 3D surround upscaling, which can actually create surround sound vertically and from the sides. And Sony even state that this can replace in-ceiling speakers or up-firing speakers in a soundbar. This will actually work with all content as well, so it will bring out the best audio for your movie or TV program. I do think this new 3D surround upscaling does work nicely, and it does a good job of replicating that sound performance. It's not going to compete, of course, with a full hi-fi setup in my eyes, but it definitely improves the audio performance from the TV itself. An upgrade from the AG9 to the A90J is that you now get dual left and right subwoofers instead of a single center one to give powerful bass and more cinematic sound. The A90J also features a new actuator which is larger and it offers higher sound pressure. It's actually made up of two actuators, one within the other, and one is dedicated for the high frequencies and the other for the mids. So all of these tweaks and changes enable the A90J to really push the sound performance. On the whole, this is the best standalone TV performance that we have come across. The different sound modes are also a nice feature, which really do help you get the most out of your content. In testing The Greatest Showman, which is a film that I've happened to watch a lot of times, no judging, you can really tell the sound has been a key priority in this new model. And you can trust me on that. I know Greatest Showman music a lot. But anyway, let's move on to the next feature before I dig myself a bigger hole. Center speaker mode has also been brought through from the AG9, which is great if you're using a set of left and right bookshelf or floor standing speakers hooked up to an AVR to give you a dedicated center speaker if you don't already have one. Now this is a real pro for this TV for hi-fi enthusiasts. So we would recommend customers who are looking to add an entry-level soundbar listen to the TV first, as it might be the sound performance that you need or are looking for. If you are looking for a more premium soundbar, such as the Sonos Arc or the Sennheiser Ambio, then you will get a better listening experience from those. Of course, there are lots of different soundbar options out there, so that choice will come down to your personal preference. The A90J is also missing the bass that you get from a dedicated subwoofer, so if bass is something that you're after, then you might want to consider a soundbar and sub setup. The A90J will also appeal to gamers with full HDMI 2.1 support and 4K 120 FPS, so games look super smooth, rich and detailed. Now we've been testing this out over the last couple of days, and these new features combined with that impressive picture quality and sound performance does offer an immersive gaming experience, better than we are used to experiencing on Sony OLEDs. So with two HDMI 2.1 ports available, you should be all set. However, there is one potential drawback, that one of those ports is also the eARC port, so this could cause issues if you have multiple devices to connect, such as a PlayStation 5, an Xbox Series X and a Sonos Arc. In this scenario, your options would be to swap the devices around when you want to use them, or to opt for an HDMI 2.1 friendly AV receiver, which can pass through 4K 120Hz signals. However, we haven't tested this for any potential lip sync issues. Unfortunately, at launch, there's no support for VRR or ALLM, which has been promised in an upcoming firmware update coming this winter 2021. So I know this particular feature was heavily requested in their 2020 models, and we are of course disappointed that this is not available at launch. However, at the very least, we do know it's coming, and with this support on board alongside all of the extra Sony features, it will be an extremely capable TV for gaming, especially for the PlayStation 5. So let us know in the comments if you'd like to see us do a bundle on our website for the A90J or other Sony TV with a Sonos Arc soundbar and PlayStation 5. So who would we say the Sony A90J is right for? Well, if you're looking to take advantage of some of the best technology currently available in 2021 and you've got the budget to make this investment, I honestly don't think that you'll be disappointed with this model. I purchased the Sony A9 last year after falling in love with it during our testing, and I was adamant that I wouldn't be looking to upgrade anytime soon. However, this A90J has been a bit of a surprise to me, and I can't lie that I am more tempted than I would like to admit. The A80J versus A90J will be an interesting comparison, with the A80J being the 2021 upgrade from the hugely popular A8. So if you think the A90J is a bit of a stretch for you, then you might want to hold off and consider the A80J instead. Onto the strengths and weaknesses of the A90J then, starting off with the strengths. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I'm going to go ahead and say that one of its best strengths is its aesthetics. Let's not forget you're going to be looking at the TV for many hours, and it's likely to be quite a central feature of your living room, so it is actually quite important. The adjustable stand means that it'll be suitable for most setups, soundbar or no soundbar, long TV stand, short TV stand or no TV stand at all. Another strength is the Google TV interface and the A90J's navigation in general. We found this to be a huge upgrade on the previous interface, which had been holding back Sony TVs for a while, especially if you didn't use any separate streaming boxes. And of course, the picture and sound quality powered by the new XR processor is very impressive, and the brightness achieved by an OLED is something we were very excited by. Weaknesses would of course be the price for some people, however this is completely subjective and dependent on what you're looking for and your budget. So this is certainly not going to be accessible for everyone, but the good news is the TVs lower down in the range still benefit from a lot of the same features, but at a more affordable price point. Now we will be doing a buying guide for the whole 2021 range very soon. It's also far from ideal that VRR is still not included, but we are hoping that this will be resolved by the end of this year. So if you're already in the market for a new premium OLED TV and have been holding off for a while, the 2021 lineup of Sony TVs offers some of the most significant changes that we've seen in an OLED TV. It's perfect for gamers, especially after the update, sports fans, action movie fanatics, and everything in between. Right now, it does feel like Sony are pushing the limits of OLED and getting pretty spectacular results, and it's no surprise that this is their flagship OLED for 2021. Thanks for watching, guys. If you think the A90J is going to be the right TV for you, then check the link below to the product page where you can get your hands on one if you are interested. Remember to click subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more reviews like this in the future, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Always helps me out. See you all very soon.